There we go.
You're live. All right.
Being restreamed.
There we go. We are live and we're in action.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am your personality pro, and you are listening to the Everyday Riches Show. And I'm just so excited to be here today. All sorts of fun things that we're going to be doing. And Jason, how are you doing today?
Phenomenal. It's Wednesdays at 4:00 are always phenomenal time for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? And one of the things for me this week, before we introduce our guest, we are so excited about having Pearl here. Gee, when was it? How long has it been? Has it been a month
Maybe a month, yeah.
Well, it's been a couple of months that you and I have known each other, and we've talked about before that then Jason and I connected, and then I connected Jason with Regina, and then Regina said, oh, let's do something together. And then all of a sudden it is now escalated into the Entrepreneurs League of Justice. And Pearl is has joined us. We are so excited about all the things that are happening within this group.
And coming all the way from across the pond.
And coming from across the pond. And you know, it is absolutely amazing. So many things have happened this past year that were a little less than stellar. But you know what? Some of the things that are coming out that we're going to be looking back on 5 years from now and going, that's where it started.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
Thank heavens for 2020. And having Pearl here is going to be one of the things that we're going to be talking about, that 5 years from now, this is where it started.
Barbara, I didn't know, and I don't know if we talked about this before in an episode, but before the pandemic, I didn't know anybody that lived out of the United States. And now we're on a regular call with Pearl and Tim, and that's just within that group. But I've I had the podcast with Jeannie out in Norway, and the amount of connections and friends and relationships that I've built that are outside of the United States during COVID is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. You and me both. One of the things for me is that I have been on podcasts in Norway, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada. We have now, for one of my other shows that I do, the Time to Shine Happiness show on Tuesday, we have people that listen to us from China. And now here we have Pearl, and she's going to be having us on her Pearls of Wisdom show. So excited. It is going to be so fun. And now we are going to be now in England. Wow. Pearl, welcome. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am so excited to be part of this. The excitement, the buzz, the energy, just listening to the two of you talking. It's just wonderful. But it's like this when we do the collaboration, isn't it? Whenever we're on the calls, we just start to buzz because we're all at a high energy. We're so excited about what we do, and the synchronicities in what we do and where we complement each other. It's just off the charts. It really is.
And this is this is all coming out. Like one of the things, Jenny's husband, Steve, he's a tech guy. And one of the things that he said, that one of the companies that he does tech for, they said that they have done in 1 year what they thought was going to take them 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And part of it is because all these big, and I hate to say the big companies, because sometimes it's not the big companies that can do it. It's the small companies that have instant pivot, that they can do instant pivots, that they have gotten together and collaborated, and so many new things. Look at all the stuff that's going on with Zoom. The broadband that Zoom has now. I mean, yes, they had growing pains because it happened so fast. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was in a room full of people yesterday, and I asked them, how many of you used Zoom before the pandemic? And not one of them had. I did. Did you use Zoom?
Yeah. I've been using Zoom for years.
We used Zoom before it was cool, before it became a household name.
Before anybody knew what Zoom was.
Yeah.
And because and that was before it became a verb. Oh, let's Zoom.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. You ever notice like Kleenex? Kleenex became a household name where people call it a Kleenex, or it's just a brand, but you're really talking about a tissue. The iPhone, I was in the cell phone industry, the iPhone, people would come in and say, I want an iPhone. It didn't necessarily mean they wanted an Apple iPhone. They just wanted a smartphone, or they wanted a screen, but it was just branded so well. And then same thing, Zoom. I've had people that were on Teams, or they've been on, all the other platforms, and they call it a Zoom still.
And they still call it Zoom. But Zoom is, it's talk about brand awareness. And that's one of the things that I am so excited about of what I do, is knowing who you are within what you do. Because it's that brand, because that knowing who you are, that's your brand awareness that people are going to relate to.
Well, going back to what Pearl is talking about, like the synergies, I think a big part of that is knowing who you are. And we were talking about before the show is, as far as so many adults that I work with, and I was talking about the 8-year-old that I was working with, that going through and defining what happiness is. A lot of us don't take the time to understand who we are. And when we do, and I think that's what I'm most excited about in life right now, is that because I know exactly who I am and what I'm looking for. We talk about vibrations and energy. I'm attracting and pulling in that same vibration energy. And so getting to be around Pearl and Regina and all these people that I'm meeting and pulling into my life, they're all aligned. And so I see the world. I have a different colored, I guess I'm wearing different colored pair of glasses. I'll hear people talk about things that are going on bad in the world. I had a client salesperson I was working with today, and he was telling me about how he watches the news all the time and how life is just horrible and all these things. And we had a murder in our town and all this blah, 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 negative garbage. And I'm like, man, I just don't see the same world as you.
Right. That's you and me both. I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. So everything I do radiates around, and people tell me stuff, and I figure if I really need to know it, it'll show up somewhere on Facebook or in my blurb that it'll catch my attention.
Yeah.
So Pearl, let's talk about you for a second. I am so excited to be on your Pearls of Wisdom. When I first heard your credentials, I have to tell you, I was like, and it was like, oh, but then of course the next thought is, I really need to get to know this woman. And
so here we are.
and here we are. And here we are, because exactly what Jason said, we are all doing things that are synergistic. We're all looking for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah.
So, Pearl, tell us what you do. Give us one of your pearls of wisdom.
Right. Are we ready for this? Because I've got a whole list of things of what I do.
We are ready.
We're ready.
Right. If anyone follows me, or if you look up Pearl Cox International Limited, if you look on LinkedIn, you will see what I'm about to share is the blurb and the profile that I use. First and foremost, I'm a digital communications consultant. I'm also a business and spiritual coach. I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer and a mentor, and I'm a podcast host. And whilst lockdown and COVID was really strong, I was also a radio presenter. So I started with all these different things. I've done corporate when it comes to digital communications for years and years. I was lucky enough to get into Twitter when it first started. So I've been called a Jedi, a guru, a ninja, any of these things when it comes to social media. But I don't just do social media. I do that whole end-to-end communications piece. But this is where, like you were saying, you learn to pivot. You take your skills and you see where they can help other people.
Key.
And this is where COVID and lockdown, I think, has been the making of my business. I've always done contract work where I work for really large corporate companies here in the UK. I've worked for some big names like Jaguar Land Rover, National Grid, which I think is on both sides of the pond, BSkyB. Most recently, probably the last 5 or 6 years, I've worked for central government here in the UK, and I've written and devised the engagement strategy for most of the large government departments to help roll that out. So when people say Pearl does social media, she does quite a lot more, but you learn what to grow, what to move, what to pivot, what to move forward in. And where we've all been talking about this spiritual side, I only started that about 4 or 5 years ago, but it's something I really add. I do a lot of law of attraction. I've got into the spiritual woo-woo stuff, and I can really, I can send people running away because some of the stuff I do is quite
We're going to dive
special.
into this today.
Oh, we're going to dive into it. I have to tell you, on my show yesterday, we had a really good, a dear friend of mine, Simone Rivers, and she was talking about, you know, the angels, and because what I had been exposed to the day before was, you know, like I keep seeing 1111, so I happened to say that to her. She said, well, that's a portal number, and this is what you have to do when you see those portals. It's a portal number for you to walk through, and all you have to do is ask, what do you want me to do to walk through this portal? And it sparked a whole conversation, and it was just amazing to hear how the spiritual, the physical, the mental, everything, we are all connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The synergy, the alignment between all of us. And when all of us who are the light seekers, that we can really connect with each other, we're going to see even more and more and more of the synchronicities.
Definitely.
How did you, Pearl? I'm so curious. How did you start your journey through the spiritual realm, or the spiritual aspect?
Right. If I go back to bit in my childhood, I used to see things, and I used to see things big time, because children, they're so, they have no worries or anything. They're so pure. What we see, we just blurt out. And I can remember telling my mum when I was 7 years old that I'd seen myself walk through the wall. I can remember being ready for school. I had one of these big dressing tables with a mirror in front, and I looked in the mirror, and behind me, I could see me, but all the colors were see-through. And I turned around and I watched this me walk straight the way through a wall. And at the time, my mum thought, oh, it's close to Halloween, better go take her to the doctor. They said, no, this is all something, she's probably just dreamt it. But I used to sense things, I'd see things, and people told me I was a catalyst, and it scared the living daylights out of me. So what, 4 years, I stepped back and I had nothing to do with it. Then go forward to where we are now, and you'll see the necklace I'm wearing is to connect with the angels. It's got angelite, it's got Herkimer diamonds, and it's got the pearls. And of course, Spirit called me Castella de la Mer, which is of the ocean or of the sea. And it's where I've connected now. I've got spirit guides, I've got archangels that work with me. I've actually got my purpose. So when I talk on the collaboration about what my purpose is, I know from my higher self, from people, from incarnations that I've been before, I know exactly what my purpose is, and that's to give a voice to the unspoken, which is why my communications piece fits so wonderfully. And yes, it's woo-woo, and I'm really high corporate, but when I introduce myself as a business and spiritual coach, it's always the spiritual side that people say, can we go have a coffee? Can we talk about the spirituality?
It's incredible.
And where we're in lockdown, I think you find yourself, you go back into yourself and you see, where's that piece? Where can you move? And this is what's brought each and every one of us together, like we said, for the collaboration and the recent projects I've run, like the International Women's Day, that almost exploded the internet. I did one post on Facebook, and within 2 weeks I had 200 women involved. I am still interviewing women on my podcast right the way through until October that are part of the International Women's Day series. And on LinkedIn, I did a share where I tagged everyone, which is how I connected with Regina. And I hit the top 1% engagement on LinkedIn twice in 2 days.
Wow.
It's just literally because it's something that resonated with people, and people could see the interest and that they join. And when I looked at my analytics at the end of March, my LinkedIn engagement had gone up by 25,000%.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yep.
And this is what you do when you know you're connected with the right people, and you just tag people and you get people to build engagement, if you like and share, or people in your group, in your network, if you tag someone and they like and they comment and then they share it, it just gets amplified and amplified. And that's where you get tiny little badge. Now, I didn't even know these things existed because they don't show on your LinkedIn profile. They're only on your alerts. So only you see them. And it's a tiny little badge that says you have hit the top 1% engagement on LinkedIn. And there's 768 million people on LinkedIn.
Wow.
So imagine that. And then to hit it twice. And it was just, you just think, well, we're doing something right. But that's where I say it's the guides. This is where the guides come in and they say, right, you are on purpose. You are delivering what we want to do. Because ultimately, once you connect with your guides, you all have that sole purpose together. And the sooner you connect with them, the quicker you rise, the more vibrations, the higher your energy, because you're helping them to rise to the next level at the same time as well. So that they're quite happy with me at the minute because I keep doing all these things and I talk about spirit, and I know some people will listen to this and think she's completely cuckoo. Do lalita.
Oh, that people. So some friends of mine, they just think I'm like kind of like, oh yeah, that's Barbara and her woo woo stuff. Okay, fine. You know what? It doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Because I have people like Pearl and Jason. Jason and I, it was just how we connected.
Yeah.
And to find out that we had common friends, you know.
Yeah. That I know personally, like literally lived down the street from me, and they knew you. So that's insane.
And it was like, because he called up Jason and said, how do you know Barb? And it's exactly.
And they were in a meditation group together, which is
we were in a we were in a meditation group together. And because you never know. And that's what the universe, like with me, when I think what happens lots of times to people is they think their purpose and their mission is so out there that they think it has to be this huge thing. And with me, once I realized that my purpose was to serve God, to learn, and then to teach what I learned, that's all there is. That's for me to learn from Pearl, learn from Jason, and then teach other people what I've learned. And once I got it down to that simple, that's what started it all. And I look back now and go, yeah, that's where it started. Once I knew that piece. Yeah. And then of course, getting in touch with who I was outside of all the labels.
Yeah.
So I've been a huge believer in doing the research and just the law of attraction. That's been a big part of me for probably since my early 20s. But I'm just recently gone down the spiritual enlightenment. And the reason being is I was getting all these clients that were coming to me, and as I was starting to work with them, they'd reveal to me that they were empaths, or that they had these special gifts and these intuitions. And I started asking, like, when you start seeing a reoccurring theme, you have to start questioning what's going on. Why are all these people, like majority of my clients are going through a spiritual enlightenment, or they're on the empath, or so what is attracting? So I Googled what is this is horrible if you Google this, what attracts empaths to you? And literally it comes up, if you're a narcissist, empaths are really, they're like, oh my God, am I a narcissist? Like, but like, so anyways, long story short, I have a client, we were talking about this yesterday as we were meeting, and she introduced me to a guy, and he's a clairvoyant, and he knew stuff about me that we within few seconds of conversation, he was telling me personal stuff about me that how did he know? So I'm like, I got to reach out to this guy because I'm just curious about myself. What's going on? Why are people being attracted to me? And I threw that question out to him, and he was like, you're a healer. He was like, you're a healer and you don't even know it. And the crazy thing is like, you work with people in sales and you help people with sales. And by the way, like, I haven't even talked to him about what I do. You could go back and read my LinkedIn profile, but I'm like, how? Okay. So he probably read my LinkedIn profile, but he's like, but what you do is you sit with people and you have the ability to see through all their emotions. You have the ability to see through all of their shit, and you can see what their true potential is. And what you do through the wall of sales, or through the guise of sales, is you help them discover their true potential selves. You help them see their true potential and help them work towards realizing that. And I'm like, oh my God, Like I feel like you described, and like all of a sudden it was just this instant, like it makes all this sense. So that's what started my journey. It's been about 4 months now, and since then has really been where just the aligned people are coming into my life. And I'm noticing that even with my clients that I work with, as soon as we start tapping into where they're supposed to be, like what you're talking about, Pearl, with your, you know, what your purpose is, all of a sudden the gates are just opening up. In
Right.
Yeah.
I could listen to this all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for me, it's the knowing who you are within what you do. And that has several of my clients have been like, and I can see them like going kind of like, oh, and then all of a sudden it's like they start to get it.
Yeah.
Who are you within what you do? Because it's that the divine, as a friend of mine says, it's the divine feminine.
Yeah.
Who you are. The divine masculine is what you do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have to be in touch with our divine feminine of who we are, our creative process. Because when people can tap into their divine, that who they are, that's where their tribe is going to find them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how
And
do you, oh, go ahead.
so I was just going to say, and you mix business and law of attraction and bring the two together, and suddenly your business explodes. Because when you understand the laws that you put into place by raising your vibration, by understanding that law of attraction and actually putting that spiritual side into it, and you come from a place of love, and you know where you're going, and that you're giving and in service to someone else,
Right.
and you add the business side, that's where everything just falls into place. As we've seen, the fact that we've connected, and until we were having this conversation now, I don't think we realized quite how connected we were on the spiritual side.
Not at all. Yeah. And you talked about it in your presentation, but I didn't really pick it up as much, and we didn't dive into that part because we were talking about all of what you were doing. You know, the frequency we were dialed into is how is this fitting in with our clients and where we can do it with business. And so it's just awesome to see that fully now, how we connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just gets stronger with each connection that we make.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the cool part.
Yeah.
Like, to think it started out with just Regina and Jason. Well, it started out with Jason and I, and then we added Regina, and now there's what, 10 of us?
Yeah, I think we're and it could even be growing larger.
And it could be even growing larger.
Yeah.
We're going to look back on this 5 years from now and go, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you work with people on that spiritual side, Pearl?
Normally I do it with law of attraction. I must admit, yes, I've started doing oracle cards and things like that. And now I'm getting what I call downloads. Mediums would say it's when spirits speak to them, but to me it's like an intuitive nudge, and you start to realize that when your intuition is kicking in, it's not always your intuition, it's your guides that are showing you and saying, right, that's, and like you were saying with the patterns, with the numbers, I see angel numbers, I see patterns of numbers all the time. And because I kept seeing the double numbers like 12, 12, 11, 11, 10, 10, or I'd see it reversed. So I'd say see 12, 21, 15, 51. And I asked on one of these groups, I said, what was that? And someone said to me, look up what the meaning of Earth Angel is. And I thought, what are they talking about? And it suddenly realized, but when you see those certain numbers, like 4s and 2s are specific to your angels. That shows you that you've got your angels, be it guardian angels, archangels, seraphim, whatever it is, that are there to support you. 4s and 2s in different ways, it's messages from angels. And you suddenly see, the more you switch on to this, the more you see those messages and what those things mean. And there's the wonderful I've got a friend, Jo Dupfield, that I would love to introduce you both to, because she's helped me on my spiritual journey. I met her whilst I was doing the radio show. She had a radio show at the same time on the same station, and the connections, what Jo has taught me, and the things you see, and you start to see those messages, and suddenly you realize what it is. And from that, you just bring it into your business. And just by saying like that, I've even started building products that I now put to complement my services, like planners. And I've started doing affirmation cards where I've got crystal jewelry that affirms towards money affirmations or relationship affirmations, career affirmations. So it's all ways that you can start and bring everything together. And now once you write something down, like we were saying about the affirmations and gratitude, like you were saying, Jason, about a planner, a journal, and you write your affirmations, you get so used to writing it, you know when you've put it there, like when you go to a restaurant and you order off the menu, you don't for 1 minute think, oh, it's not going to turn up. Whereas when you do an affirmation, you put it out there to the universe that, yes, I want my next retreat to be brilliant. I want to bring in the best soul aligned clients that are going to help us all grow together. You know, once you've written that, once you've got that faith in what the universe and law of attraction is, it brings your vibration rises, and they're the people that come to you. And sometimes that's when you learn, like you were saying, Barb, about pivoting. Sometimes you realize that those people that you thought were your tribe, as you grow on the spiritual side, suddenly your tribe changes because the universe brings in those exact people that you've been asking for, that where you're seeing those numbers when you're asking to connect. And I think this is exactly what the collaboration is. It's brought, we've got so many things where all our skill sets fit so neatly together, and we can see where we complement each other, or we understand the same topic, but we all approach it in a different way. So we've got everything from that collaboration, and that's got to be the universe seeing our vibration and bringing us together so we can then give that help to everyone that needs it.
Exactly. And sometimes it just amazes me when things happen. And then I'm like, why is it amazing you? Because this is how the universe works.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example that happened to me today. A couple of weeks ago, like one of my things is that I really want to be a really well-rounded speaker. And so I tend to look at, I'll take little speaking things. And one of the things that Barb Beckley had said, that she's in Toastmasters. And I said, oh yeah, maybe I should look into getting into an online Toastmaster group. Because there wasn't one out, because I live so far out of the city that there wasn't one even remotely close to me out here. And I thought, but I thought that like 2 weeks ago. This morning I sat down in my devotionals, put in, and then a friend of mine came on, and she takes us to the beach every week because she lives in Florida. So she took us to the beach. Well, and so we walk and we do the Ho'oponopono prayer over the water, and we watch the pelicans driving, and I'm in Chicago, she's in Florida, but I'm at the beach with her. Well, right after her thing, this came on, and it was Barbara Beckley with one of her other shows. And it was like, and it is that listening to that intuition. Okay, I need to watch this guy. Okay, so it was going to be a half-hour show. So I watched it. Well, guess what he does? He has an afternoon Toastmaster online group. I signed up for it for Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It was like, all right, just down the little garden path and all of it. And then part of my devotional today was that, what are you going to do today to magnify the Lord? And one of the suggestions was, tell somebody about what God's done for you. So I went out for breakfast with a couple of friends of mine this morning, and I said, I just have to tell you how good God is to me. And I just told them about this. And she was like, oh, wow, it all worked out. I said, exactly. Taking the inspired action to listen to Dawn, to go to the beach with Dawn, then listen to Barbara, and then to have the Toastmaster, which I thought to myself 2 weeks ago. And here he is.
And this is where, with law of attraction, so many people, when they first get into it, they think, oh, you just put out there almost like a wish and you expect it all to manifest the next day. Right. But it doesn't work like that. Yes, you can put out things, but you also have to do the work. You have to do that work on yourself so that the universe can see. And then you do the work, you create that vacuum, the universe abhors the vacuum, and it fills it with the things that you've been asking for, because that's the vibration you've put out there. So all these groups, and I think we've all looked at when we first start law of attraction or looking at spirituality, where it will say, you are going to win so much money tomorrow. If you put 888 in the comments or write yes in the comments, because it's clickbait to get you to actually write something. It doesn't work like that. You have to understand. And like we said, it has to be heart-centered and actually be where it resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate, or something that you've asked for doesn't happen, that's because there's something better out there that the universe is bringing to you. So if we ask for something that doesn't happen, you think, oh, why not? Instead of being down about it, realize that's because there's something even better around the corner, and that's what the universe is bringing to us.
That's so awesome.
Absolutely the truth, and absolutely the truth. So it just amazes, and that's why I said it amazes me. And yet it's like, Barbara, why would it, you cannot outgive God. He's the master of the universe. And whether and I happen to call him God. Now, however you define your supreme being, that all encompassing, that all knowing, that all, whatever you call it. Some people call it source, some people call it spirit, whatever, this is not about religion, but it's about the spirituality. It's about the spirit that's within us all. And the universe is limitless. And
I mean, like you were saying, Bob, about wanting to be a speaker before COVID started, that was my career goal. I wanted to move out from the consulting to actually be an international speaker. And that was what I was looking to do. And I kept thinking, oh, I've not got there. And then I suddenly thought, I've been on an international, a worldwide, global, international radio show. My podcast hits every single country on the globe. And when I speak to people, and then you suddenly realize, and like when I look, Vicky Thomas and Hit Talks that I've introduced you all to, and if anyone
I'm going to be on the 30th, on July 30th, I'm going to be on that.
Now, I connected, Vicky has so many wonderful people in her network. And what Hit Talks is 8 speakers speaking for 8 minutes. You don't promote, you just speak from the heart for 8 minutes, whatever it is that fits with you. Now, I've spoken twice, and I've actually had a Pearls of Wisdom that's run by Vicky Thomas and Hit Talk. So I've been involved. I've been an attendee for ages, but I've spoken twice and then run my own. Now, I've been lucky enough to speak on the same stage as Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, and then Dr. Chopra was then one of my latest guests on my podcast. Wow. And if you get to listen to him, he talks about the books he writes with his brother and his brother's Deepak. And when you start to realize that you're on the same stage as these people, and with producers and people that are at the top of their tree on a global area, and you suddenly think, I've made it. I've done what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an international speaker. And and then when we go back to what my soul aligned purpose is, where it's being the voice for the unspoken, it's that communication. It's putting that word out and giving everyone the chance to share their word and what their message is. And once you do that and you amplify it, it goes global, and it's massive. And this is what I love about podcasts, is this is the way people assimilate their information now. They don't even listen to radio. We're so used to having wanting to binge watch Netflix and things like this. So when we listen to our media, we want to go for a specific topic. We want to know when's that on. If we don't catch it when it's live, we want to listen to it afterwards. When we're doing our meditation, half of it is listening to podcasts or going for a walk in nature or things. It's where we switch off and we have our time. That's when we listen to podcasts. And if you look again, in lockdown, how is this has just exploded, where people are so used to just sharing a message, and it doesn't matter how far away we are. I mean, like we said, there's an ocean between us, and yet the way we speak, it's like we've known each other all our lives, and the connection is just brilliant.
It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant.
It is so crazy because it's almost like you're here.
You're coming from across such a distance.
Right.
So it's almost
and you
like
and I are
here.
states away. I'm in Illinois and you're in Michigan.
I mean, I have clients all over. I'm sure you have clients all
Mhm.
over. It's just so crazy how we can reach people now. And it's just,
Yep.
again, people I've never actually met in person.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And how things come about. One of the things that I'm excited about right now, a friend of mine, in fact, I had her on my and in fact, I want to have her on this show, just because she works with companies. She's a leadership coach, and she works with companies that are for profit, but she also works with how to connect the for profit companies with nonprofits that need their services, so that it's a synergy between for profit and nonprofit. And that's what she works with. Well, yesterday I texted her. I came off of my mastermind, one of my mastermind calls, and I sent her a text. Would you be interested in doing a program with me about how to help people to donate, why people donate, why will people donate to nonprofits, and how to teach them how to tweak their messaging? And so she wrote back to me. She said, really interesting. And then we talked. She's so excited because that's what we're going to be. So now we're going to be able to take what I know how to do, put it into her nonprofits to teach them how to position themselves to get more support from the for-profit companies, and then the for-profit companies get us a charitable part to their company that adds to their bottom line, because people want to do business with people who are making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
We're so excited. And it's just that you talk about the synergy that Pearl's been talking about, that is just like, it's like, and that's what happens. That is what's happening more and more and more with companies.
When you hear us all speaking, everyone can hear the passion in our voice about what we do, and that's infectious. That once you can actually share and people can hear that goes back to where people like to listen to podcasts. If you can get that enthusiasm and passion in your voice, you've got your audience, you've got them, and they're going to be following you because they get excited with you, they grow. And then whatever subject it is that we're sharing and training and teaching people, if our passion is going with us, that's over half the way of the training, because people are excited and they get excited with you, and then it's a lot easier. It's not like they're doing work then, they're just running on the excitement and the adrenaline that you've started just by sharing what you love.
Right. And that's what we were talking about, that Catherine and I were talking about yesterday, is that just getting people that they can really engage and then connect with the people that they're trying to engage and connect with. And I can teach them how to do it with personality science. And she can do it with her leadership. So we're going to take my personality science part and her leadership and put it into these for-profit and these nonprofit companies to put them together. Some of the ones she's done has just been amazing. Some of the stories, and I'll have to have her on the show just to tell us some of the stories that she has put these two companies together. And they both benefit. And that is, I think that is what the universe wants, because to build businesses, build practices, build whatever what it is, whether you're a dentist, it doesn't matter, because it's like why they have Doctors Without Borders, the doctors that go around the world and do, surgery for kids with cleft palates. It's amazing the stuff that they do. We're doing the same thing, we're just doing it in a different way. But it all works.
The one thing, Pearl, I've noticed through COVID is that so many people are looking for their purpose or their passion. They're looking for a way to find that purpose and passion, or how to start living that life, because they realize through the shutdown that what they're doing is not making them happy. It's not filling their bucket. What would you say to people starting that journey on how to find their purpose, how to find their meaning of life?
First thing I'd say is listen. Take time to just sit in silence. And when we first start doing that, it's very, very hard, because as soon as you try and go into silence and clear your mind, you can imagine there's so many things coming in. But if you can clear your mind and sit in silence, and when we're talking about that little intuition piece, that bit, that niggle that you hear, that is going to be showing someone, when they're on the start of this spiritual journey, where they need to look, or like we were saying with angel numbers, or seeing patterns in numbers, or maybe seeing an image that you see again and again, and you suddenly think, oh, I've seen that. Or you might see it will be in a car registration plate that you'll see numbers there, or you might find that someone will say a certain name and you'll hear the same name in 3 or 4 different conversations with no connection. Realize there's a connection there, that there's a message coming through, and that just by sitting and starting listening, it's amazing what you learn from that. And just sit there and almost write yourself maybe 10 things. What would I love that new in my life? And that's where it almost becomes an affirmation. I would love to manifest this, or I am thankful and grateful for. And as soon as you show gratitude in your current life and what you're doing on the simplest things, Gabby Bernstein tells you to start to love and enjoy a cup of coffee. And it's simply, if you can connect and actually enjoy the taste and the smell and the everything about it, if you can find joy in that and find gratitude in that, everything else is easier. Because once you're putting out gratitude and joy, that's what the universe sees, and that's what you start to bring in. So again, if you're on the start of your journey, if you can find what makes you happy and what gives you that joy and lights you up, as soon as you connect with that, that is going to bring people that are like-minded, that are on the same vibration. They will come to you, and before you'll know it, you've started the journey, you're feeling good, all these good things are happening. And like I said, it doesn't always happen all the time. We all have bad days as well, but sometimes that's the learning curve that we have to go through. And once you have that, once you do the work on yourself and go through and you push through that barrier, what's on the other side is phenomenal. And it's normally those bits that you don't want to do, the work you don't want to do, that's what you need to do most, because that's where you're going to see the biggest difference.
Right.
The stuff that you're the most afraid to go out and do, or
Right. Getting out of your comfort zone.
Like how uncomfortable was it for you to add the spiritual piece and to like start talking about that?
It was quite hard to begin with. And then I thought, no, if I'm going to connect with the right people, I need to say my truth. Because if you don't, it feels different, and people see and hear that it's different. And we talk about it on social media communications, be your authentic self.
Right.
And if you're not authentic to yourself, you can't connect with the people that you maybe want as clients and customers, and they will see if you're not authentic. And that's one thing everyone said to me about my podcast. And when I speak to people, they say, you're so genuine. They can just listen and hear in my voice that what I'm saying is genuine, and it's with passion, and it's full of belief. No one can sort of say, oh no, either they resonate or they don't. But those people that do resonate, they come in at such a force because they've connected with you so quickly. Because but it is quite scary. But like I said to you, I did that. I introduced myself with my last corporate client, and I did my LinkedIn profile piece. Like I said, every time I did the one-to-one afterwards, the first thing they said is, you said about spiritual, I'd love to know more. I follow that now, and we talk about books that we've read and authors that we follow and key speakers. And then you suddenly see that connection, and that's where you see the synergies. And you just think, and it's when we say law of attraction, like attracts like, doesn't it? And they say that once you realize that, everything fits into place, and it's so much easier.
And it works.
I'm gonna share this clip, by the way, with my client. We were just having this conversation yesterday. We're preparing her to be on a TV show, and she has these intuitions. She has her angels, right? And she knows their names, and she's like, she'll be talking to a client. She's working in sobriety coaching. She's working in like that mindset transformation. And she's like, and I can see his pain that he was in as a kid. And I can see his dad, and I can see these things. She was like, and she's telling me this amazing story. And I've got I got my hair standing up on my arm. And I'm like, you got to say that, like, tell that. And she's like, if I start going into that, people are going to think I'm crazy. But if I start telling them and sharing that stuff, they're not gonna, like, she's gonna kick me off the show, or that fear of being rejected. But I love that as soon as you embraced it and you talked about it, all of a sudden your tribe, your people, the ones that want to hear it, they come at you, like you said, with force.
And when you say about the clear senses, it's surprising once you go into that and you realize just how many you have. Clairvoyance and all these different things. Like, I know I feel things. Like when I say that intuition piece, it's, I don't necessarily see things, I feel it. I get a real like an empathic feeling. I'm finding that I'm now starting to see things as well. And again, it's like, if you get, I haven't dreamed in years, or I have, but I didn't remember it. And I dreamed most recently about woodpeckers. And then someone said to me, go and look at that, what the woodpecker totem means. And you will find spirit will work with birds because it's easy. Like a robin, I was told at the very beginning of my journey, a robin will be your spirit guide. And I will find a robin will come into the garden. And often when I'm walking in nature, a robin will come and like hop on the fence alongside and will follow where I'm walking. And that's when you realize that spirit are so close and they're showing you, yes, we've listened, we're here, this is where you can connect with us. And it's just seeing those things and being brave. Like we said, you don't move forward until you take that jump. And we've all talked about doing these global speaking events, and what we're doing now is going to hit a global audience. And you'd be surprised just how many it's going to resonate with. And until you take that step, I've been listening recently to Brené Brown and her.
Oh, I love Brené Brown.
And her talk on vulnerability. And when you listen to that, she talks about woo-woo and spiritual things. And the one thing she said from that I really took, she says, the people that do better are the ones that truly follow gratitude, and that they see things and that they can cope with stress and everything easier because they're used to using mindfulness and actually going in and being grateful for things, and that you can reset your stress meter, as it were, literally by showing gratitude. And it's everywhere you go. And I can still, I mean, I've followed Oprah for years and years and years. And when you think, when she had her show and she when she spoke about The Secret, when she talked about her book clubs, and it just went mad when she spoke about The Secret, because so many people resonated with it.
Yeah, and it totally starts with gratitude. I'll share an exercise a friend of mine did yesterday with me. She said, all right, people, if you're having a tough day, let's do a life check. You ready to, okay, you ready to do a life check? Sit back, just sit quietly, take a breath. Wow, you're alive. Be grateful. You're happy.
That's awesome.
And it was like, absolute, and it's absolutely the truth. You're having a bad day. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Because that means you are alive.
Yeah.
And that means in this next instant, if you're listening to this right now, in this next instant, you can do one thing that will absolutely change your life.
Yeah.
Just be open to it. Take another breath, and then be open to what Pearl has just been sharing with us, that sense of wonder, that sense of intuition, that like, for me, it's just kind of like a knowing. That's how I interpret it. It's just a knowing. I just know that this is what I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah.
And it could be one little thing, like this morning, listen to this one show, and it got me.
Yeah.
What I wanted was a Toastmaster, and I've signed up for it. And it starts there.
Yeah.
It's not, and people think it's so complicated, and it's not.
Yeah.
So
we talked about this before the show came on, about my client, the 8-year-old. And so I spoke at this company in October, and one of the marketing manager from the company reached out to me because we had talked about her son playing sports and his mindset and stuff. He's 8. But she was telling me about him, and she reached out to me, and she asked me if I would consider doing mindset coaching for her son. And so we went through a process, and I'm like, yeah, I would love to do this. I think this is part of my calling, because for me, Mindset. I was a victim for the majority of my life, all the way up until like probably 26, 27 years old, when I had a mentor that really started pushing my mindset and bringing some things together. And it all had to do with like low self-confidence, fear, like, feeling like all my challenges and vulnerabilities were embarrassing things and stuff. So anyways, telling a long story here, I am working on with him, and my assignment for him, like we were talking about earlier, was starting reverse engineering and realizing and starting to understand what makes you happy. And so I asked him that question. I was telling him, I told him the pretense of, I work with so many adults that when they come to me and I ask them what makes them happy, they have no idea.
They don't know.
They don't know who they are. And so when you can start at a young age, starting to define what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what you enjoy, what your core values, understanding who you are. But talking about law of attraction and vibration and, kind of NLP, if you know what makes you happy, can you meditate on that and think of that experience and bring back and create that happiness in the most intense times, So we're going through this process, and I had him write down and journal, what I had him write them down, and he wrote down sports, and then he stalled and his mind went blank. And I love how you brought up earlier, Pearl, about just the simple cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I shared with him, I'm like, it doesn't have to be anything monumental. And I shared with him, I said, something that I love to do, me and my wife, we love to go downtown. We live right downtown in our little town. We love in the middle of the day, taking a little walk with our dog, stopping at the coffee shop, grabbing a cup of coffee, sitting by the mill pond, and just kind of relaxing. And it always resets our day. So we did that. Actually, I told him we did that this afternoon. After, we were working hard in the morning, we took this little relaxation time. We came back in the afternoon. We were so revitalized. We had so much energy because this made us happy.
Yeah.
And so instantly he brainstormed, he started writing down this whole paragraph, and he wrote down two things. And one was a long one. The second thing was he loves playing video games. That makes him happy. And that's like a normal 8-year-old kid thing, right? But the other thing was, actually, this is funny, his dad was running late to our appointment because they travel quite a distance to come see me, and they got stuck in rush hour traffic. And so he's like frantic and, impatient and like embarrassed because he's late and this thing has happened. You know how when you get stuck in rush hour traffic, all the feelings and emotions. The thing that he wrote down that made him happy was being able to be in a long car ride with his dad, because he got so much one-on-one time with his dad. He got to be able to really talk. They got to have really awesome conversation. And so as we were talking about that, we then went into the complete practice of gratitude. I said, did you tell your dad that? Did you tell your dad how happy it made you? And he's like, no. And I'm like, so one of my assignments for you is on the way home, I want you to tell him how happy that made you. Because one, gratitude, being able to express what you love, because when you can tell your dad that you love that car ride one-on-one, do you think that your dad will go out and do more of that? Do you think that your dad will be more present, thinking like, oh, I'm stuck in rush hour traffic, this sucks. Oh, Trey's with me, we can have a conversation, and I know how much he enjoys that. Does that calm him down and make him feel grateful instead of having those feelings of anxiety? And so it's just this law of reciprocity, right? And so it's creating off one thing that made him happy, we can create so much more happiness in his life. And so I'm just excited about this experiment, or this stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, and that exercise, Jason, can you imagine somebody listening to that needs to hear that right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That is for somebody right now.
Yeah.
And embrace it.
I literally had this gentleman in his 60s that came to me, and he was really sad, and he was like, I don't know how to find happiness. I'm constantly searching for what makes me happy. And was it this career? It's this career. It's this thing. It's that thing. And I always feel empty. And I'm like, so what makes you happy? I don't know. What do you like to do? I don't know. You can't create it. You can't find it if you have no idea what even little things that you enjoy doing. What, just like when something makes you happy, when something makes you smile, what is that thing?
Me, when I get in the shower and I have warm running water. And it can be that simple.
That simple, yeah. Yep.
It doesn't have to be big things.
Yep.
I use the emotional scale quite a bit, where you see, depending on where you feel it could be really down if you've had a bad day, and then you look and see those different feelings and emotions and just see and feel through them. Again, it's something that Gabby Bernstein speaks about in some of her recordings, where she will say, and again it was with a young child that was saying wasn't happy, and she went through the emotional scale, because he started right the way at the bottom with fear and anger, and by the time she finished, he was right up there at the top with love and joy, because you go through those step by step and feeling each of those feelings, and almost have like a mantra that you can say that brings you up to the next one. Doesn't always work, as we know, but if you get into that habit of almost checking, that raises your vibration that bit quicker. And it's understanding what those different feelings are, what the emotions are, because if you don't know what happiness is, do you know what the opposite is? Because then once you can do that, and it's that binary opposition, the yin and yang, can you see if you can feel one feeling, one emotion, is a lot easier to understand the complete opposite of it. So if you're feeling low and you want to get higher, you start to feel into those emotions, and that sometimes makes it easier.
So awesome.
Wow, what a great conversation. Pearl, this was another great conversation. And I truly believe that we are here to change the world, and we're going to do it through spirituality, and do it through vibration, and do it through frequency, because everything is frequency.
Well, I'm so excited because I was playing, I've always loved the Entrepreneurs Justice League, thinking about it. And it was just kind of something I threw out there when the first time we met, like, oh, it's kind of like we're the Entrepreneurs Justice League. And we've been able to play off this whole superpowers. What's your power? Because we each have an individual talent that we bring to the table. But literally now we're talking about superpowers, and this is phenomenal.
Yep, it is. Yep. But you've spoken it into existence. You've started with that spark of an idea, and it's growing and it's becoming, that the universe is manifesting exactly what you spoke of. That they've taken you literally, and we are now all manifesting what that idea was at the very beginning.
Yeah, because it was just so funny, because Regina and Jason had talked, and then all of a sudden Regina said to me, well, I'm having a meeting with Jason. Do you want to join us? And I went, oh, okay. So the three of us were going to have it. And then all of a sudden there was 7 of us. Oh,
Well, so I got a text message. Was like, she was like, hey, I invited a few people to our meeting. I was like, what was our meeting on now? And now I'm really confused. Like, what do you mean there's a group? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, I had this idea. Like, all right. So then we got on, and amazing. It was awesome. Obviously, aligning and attracting the right people.
Yeah. And it started because Regina decided she was going to do a podcast, and we were all on her live cast. Jason and I were on it. Jason, you and I were on her live cast show.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh yeah, let's see. And then all of a sudden now it's exploding.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. And isn't it going to be fun to look back on now, from like 5 years from now, or even 2 months from now?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Once we come onto your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to schedule actually after this.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And of course, it is on the 22nd of July. I'm going to say now, there is a POW panel, Pearls of Wisdom panel, where all of the Entrepreneurs Justice League will be taking part. We will be talking about what we do, how we collaborate, how we can all help you as a group. So everyone listening now, please, I look forward to you all coming and joining us there. It will be shared everywhere. We share it through all our networks, and it's a way of putting everyone front and center so you can see what wonderful experience and offers this whole collaboration has.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, you mentioned you were top 1% content creators on LinkedIn. So obviously we can find you, Pearl Cox, on LinkedIn. How else can people find you?
Right. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. Now, Twitter, I'm La Peregrina, which again is a play on the word pearl, because La Peregrina is the famous pearl that Richard Burton bought for Elizabeth Taylor. And I believe Napoleon bought it the first time to give it to his lady. So there's lots of things. You can find me loads of different places. My company is Pearl Cox International Limited, but my brand is Pearls of Wisdom, and I don't need to say anything more than that. It's a play on my name, and I share my wisdom with everyone. And I'm seen as an influencer on a lot of these channels, so it's quite easy to find me.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Thank you for joining us. This has been, again, just another collection of our amazing conversations we've had so far, and so many more to be had.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I've loved it. Really loved it.
And and one of the things I have to admit that I was slightly called on the carpet for was that, you know what, when if you are listening to this and you have enjoyed this, tell your friends, leave us some love, and you know where to leave it, because you know we're not supposed to say leave such and such in the such and such. And so, you know what, but you know what to do. So if you're listening to this, tell your friends, leave us some love.
Yeah.
And because then you know the God, the energy gods know that you were, number one, that you were here, and it's all about engagement. And so that's one of the things. So leave us some love, send us some hearts, send us some thumbs up, whatever. But so
and
that
I
was
know we're out of time, but I love,
we're-
like, have you like engagement and getting to know and building relationships, all the stuff that we're talking about, that is not a sideline sport. I was that person, I was that spectator on LinkedIn where I'd go on, I'd flip through it, I'd read people's posts, or if I was really daring, I'd put a like on it, and I never commented. I'd never share my opinion, but that is where the true magic happens. Almost all the relationships I've built is because I've shot somebody a message, because I've commented on their stuff, because what they said resonated, and we've been able to build relationships from that. If this resonates with you, let us know. Let's have a conversation. And it's not
come
not
on the
sales.
show.
It's literally
Come
like,
on the show.
come on the show. Yeah,
come
absolutely.
on the show. You have a message out there that you want to share. Let us know.
Yep.
Let us know.
Life is not a bystander sport, though.
Life, one of my favorite sayings, and we're going to end with that. I will end with this anyways, is that we cannot do life on our own. We can't do life on our own. So let's all do it together. Wow. Let's make a difference.
All right. So we need a pearl of wisdom to end on.
And now a pearl of wisdom.
Literally anything you can believe, you can achieve, and you can. Just go out there, believe you can achieve anything, and you will, and have faith in yourself, and others will follow you.
That's so awesome. Literally, that's the first thing I told the 8-year-old. Have you ever heard of the phrase, if you dream it, if you believe it, you can achieve it? And he said, no. I'm like, all right, we're going to start there.
Yeah. So Jason, your pearl of wisdom on that note.
My pearl of wisdom was life is not a bystander sport.
Good. Right.
Yep.
Perfect. Exactly. So everybody have an awesome day.
Yep. Absolutely.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a